Hello, welcome to Staring Down the Storm, Autism Advocacy in America. I'm your host, Tabitha Ziegler. And we're back. So, since we're talking about healthcare, you want to speak about your own a bit?
I have psoriatic arthritis that I was diagnosed with when I was 17 or 18.
Okay.
So 10 years now. It started actually with, they thought I had fibromyalgia.
Okay.
Because one day I just kind of woke up and my ankle stopped working. It was swollen. And so it just stopped moving. Mm-hmm. And then every day after that, it was a new joint. So I would wake up and a new joint would be swollen and not work until I had like almost no mobility.
Oh, wow.
And so
You were 17 when this happened?
About 17, 18.
Okay. Yeah, that's young.
I think 18 because I was fresh out of high school.
Okay.
And my boyfriend at the time was just like, I don't know what's going on with you. That's weird. And so you should go talk to your parents or something. Go do something with that. Yeah. And so I went and, my mom tried to get me into a bunch of hospitals, doctors, all kinds of things. And they're just like, we don't know what's wrong with her. We can't really see anything wrong with her. And she's like, she's 18 and doesn't move. Like, she's paralyzed almost. And that's not normal. So something's happening. And they kept asking me, so what's happening? I said, I literally wake up every day with a new joint that doesn't work until I cannot move. I am 18 years old being assisted to the bathroom. Like, I literally can't walk from my bedroom to the bathroom, which is less than 50 feet. I'm, in fact, having accidents because I can't get there. I can't move. And so I'm, like, trying to explain that and how degrading that feels as an 18-year-old who cannot get to the bathroom on their own.
Well, yeah.
When that's been something you've always been able to do. And they're just like, oh, well, maybe you have a UTI. I was just like, a UTI that paralyzes you. Yeah. It doesn't burn when I go to the bathroom. And they're just like, okay, well, here's some medication for you anyway. So we had been to so many doctors that a year later at 19, I remember, because I counted all the pills, and I remember crying and telling my mom, if this is my life, I want to kill myself. And she was like, why do you say that? And I said, because I'm taking 22 pills a day. I take more medicine than I have lived years on this earth.
Jesus.
A day. And none of them work. So what's going on here with this? And she's like crying. She's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I'll tell you what, waking up every day to lay in your bed to know that you aren't moving and not know what's going on and not have anyone know what's going on is enough to make you just want to kind of, and I didn't know my husband at the time. I didn't have any kids. So like, I was just kind of like, oh God, is this my life? I don't know if I can do this, Mom. And then she got me into a rheumatologist. Okay. And I started getting, they gave me prednisone steroids to get me moving again. It did. It was like a miracle. I started moving again. And they were like, we think you might have arthritis. Maybe that's it. But we can't definitively say, so we'll call it fibromyalgia because you have pain. It's true. It's real. We just don't know what it is. And so I lived with that for a while as my diagnosis. And then my rheumatologist at IU left, and we got a new rheumatologist, and I was really upset about that at first. But she noticed that my scalp, I had dandruff, and it was really bad dandruff. It's like to the point where it scabs on my head. And she's like noticing, and she's like, so that's not dandruff. And I said, oh, I just assumed. I've been told that I just have the worst case. And she's like, that's psoriasis. And then she started looking at my fingernails, and she's like, you have pitted fingernails. Like, I don't know if you can tell because I shaved them down, but like there's like holes. It's not as bad right now. Okay. But when it is, there is like little holes. Like it looks like craters of the moon on my fingernails when it starts to get really bad. And they pit. And my scalp gets really bad, and I start getting itchy splotches, red splotches all over my body, and it just starts to itch to the point of like it burns and you want to rip your skin off. And she was like, you need a dermatologist and a rheumatologist because you actually have psoriatic arthritis. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, I've been living with fibromyalgia. And she's like, yeah, that's not it. Usually it presents the other way. Usually when you're young, you get psoriasis. Okay. And then you develop later arthritis. But my body, she's like, bodies don't follow textbooks. So your body just didn't do it that way. You reversed. You went arthritis first and then psoriasis, which is why no one could figure out what was going on with you, because an 18-year-old having arthritis is like, weird. And I'm so sorry, my cat's going to join you.
That's all right. I like cats.
But yeah, they were like, that's so strange. So finally I was psoriatic arthritis. However, the biologics for that, in order to have a normal life, like $5,000 a vial.
Right.
The Tremfya that I was on is $30,000 because it's one shot for 3 months. The Enbrel
So that's all you have to do is just the shot.
Yes, you
Okay.
one shot for 3, and then it lasts for 3 months, and then you do another shot in 3 months, and each shot is $30,000.
Like, why wouldn't that? I mean, I know I have the answers to these questions, but I'm just saying from like a rational standpoint as a human being, to give someone quality of life, wouldn't you just do like the least invasive thing to give them that?
I would hope so.
One would think.
I would hope so.
One would think.
And yet, because our insurance, our health insurance is tied to employers, and my husband is a mechanic, so
Yeah.
he goes where the money is. It is very usual. It is very typical for in any given year for me to have to file taxes with 2 W-2s despite me not working, because he goes where the money is. So if this dealership isn't paying what what he's worth, he has to go find another dealership, go find another shop that will pay him more. So he moves jobs frequently because he just keeps moving up and up and up and trying to make more and more and more, which is hilarious because we actually make more than we have ever made. $38 an hour. We cannot afford groceries. We're worried about being priced out of our home. Our AES bill is so crazy that we can't afford it. And the medication is so astronomically expensive that we can't even afford it, even if we went outside of healthcare. And I have had to, when I was on Enbrel, which is $10,000, so a lot smaller of a bill. CVS Caremark or CVS Specialty Pharmacy, they hate their patients so much. I told them I didn't have insurance yet, and they were like, it's fine, just refill your prescription and I'm sure it'll work out. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm afraid of that. I need to know if it's covered. And they were like, I'm sure it is. What is it? This is your plan and this is your thing. It is. It's covered. We're good. You're good. And I said, oh, okay. And they were like, yeah, so we'll just ship you the thing. It takes a little time for your insurance to kick in, but once it does, it'll be golden. Don't worry about it. So I foolishly trusted them, thought everything was fine. They shipped me the medicine and I didn't use it because I was afraid. And rightfully so, because then they stuck me with a $10,000 bill.
Whoa.
And I cried. And I was like, I literally don't even know a person I could call. I would have to pull out a bank loan in order to pay back $10,000. I was crying on the phone explaining to this woman, it will take me about 5-10 years to pay that back. That's 1 month's worth of medicine. I have to take this medication for the rest of my life. How far in debt do you want me to go for this medication? And she was just like, well, there's nothing I can do.
Of course.
I started crying. I handed Gunnar the phone, my husband, and I don't know what he did. I don't know what magic he did, but he got off that phone and was like, they are emailing you a shipping label, ship that medicine back, and they'll refund the money. And I'm just like crying because that's a shitty deal. You know what I mean? It's a shitty choice to make, especially when, again, my tax dollars are paying for Israelis to have free health care. I have to send my medication back because I can't afford $10,000. I can't borrow $10,000, and I can't get health insurance because it's tied to my husband's employer. And he moves so frequently, and you have those 90-day waiting periods, 60-day waiting periods. Sure. So I am frequently without my medication. And in fact, I haven't been, she's a year old, I haven't been on my medication in about a year. And that leaves me with flare-ups. That leaves me with swollen joints all the time. The weather is very harsh on my joints. So cold that when there starts to get too much moisture in the air, my joints start to puff up and swell. When it's cold and there's too much moisture in the air, it starts to swell and then freeze. So like all week I've been walking to school and walking on campus looking like a crazy person because it feels like there's 50-pound sandbags in my knees because they're so full of fluid. And then the fluid, I go outside in -8 degrees and it freezes. And it angers me that this is the system that we've set up. We are the richest country on earth. We claim to be the shining city on the hill. And this is how you ask people to live? Like I can't even... I mean, Now I'm 29 years old, but still at 29, I should be able to walk up a set of stairs without getting winded or crying. And it's not because I'm heavy or out of shape. It's literally because my joints do not work, and I just need a biologic to help with that. And I can't
I've got
get
a
it.
story for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be 43 soon. And I'm a mail carrier. So I walk for my job. And I just stepped wrong one day. And when I stepped down, basically I felt this rush of heat through my knee. And I'm like, this is not good. I felt sort of like a poppy sort of weird sensation. And then I was like, that does not seem well. That did not feel good. But because I was like, right, I don't have that much longer to go on my route, I'm just going to finish it. So I finished it. By the time I got home and took off my work pants, my knee was like this big.
I bet.
And I was like, oh, this is not good. Mm-hmm. And so, did all the normal stuff, lifted it up, elevated it, ice packs, Tylenol, Motrin, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
End up going to the emergency room for it. Go down this rabbit hole. Find out eventually that I had a meniscus tear, bone spurs, and arthritis in the knee. Start doing physical therapy, doing all this stuff. End up going to a surgeon who tells me that there's some sort of damage to like the back of the knee, because we were trying to find out like, am I a good candidate for surgery or whatever, because I've got 3 little kids
Right.
with autism that need me, and I'm a single parent, and I can only lift so much. I can't bend down. Like, I feel like I'm 80 years old.
Yes.
Meanwhile, doing the physical therapy, doing all the things, going to physical therapy, then going to work and all this stuff. And, being exhausted, being in pain. So he tells me I'm not a good candidate for surgery. I'm going to need a knee replacement. But until then, whenever that is, he's just going to give me cortisone shots in the knee every 3 months.
My mom gets those.
Now,
Yep.
I'd never had a cortisone shot before.
Oh.
But I
okay.
have had 2 epidurals. So go in there. They move the kneecap around or whatever.
It
Start
feels
to
strange,
shove that
though, yeah.
in. Oh, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
That felt worse than that freaking epidural. And after I got out of there, I could barely move my knee.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
it
you'll be
hurts.
fine. You'll be all right. And I was like, I don't know. So I go home. Can barely move my knee at all for like a day.
Yeah.
End up having to call out of work for like 2 days because the knee is like literally not
He
working.
told you you'd be fine. He didn't tell you that
He's like,
it's
you'll
like...
probably be all right.
Oh,
He said,
okay.
you should be good. Like,
I would say my mom she's a dentist. She gets one in her elbow because of her job. Like you said, it's just hard on her joints. And she gets a cortisol shot in her arm, but she is down for a day or two. Like, she can't move her arm correctly
yeah. So
for a day or two afterwards.
after they shoot that needle, which,
Oh, yeah.
they seem to really enjoy, which I was like not loving.
Yeah.
You know?
No, they do.
Like,
They
they're excited
kinda
about
does.
it. Like the girl, she's in training and she's like, yeah. And I was like, whoa, this seems like a strange thing to be excited about. But hey, like, not judging you, just saying. And as they're moving my kneecap around when they're shoving that giant needle through, I'm like, wow, this is like really, really painful.
Super painful and awkward and pressure.
So when they're like, yeah, you're going to need a knee replacement, I'm like, I'm 42 years old. And who knows how long I will live, but I'm guessing hopefully at least until my 80s. That means I'm halfway through. Like, and I already need a knee replacement, and I'm already, like, I walk for my job. Like, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, the cortisone shot should be fine for a while, but nobody gave me like a definite date of when I'm gonna like need this knee replacement. And I'm like, why can't you just like go in and clean it up or whatever it is that you do, just so the knee can function enough? Mm-hmm. I mean, because right now, like any of the things I want to do with my kids, I can't do. Like
Right.
I can barely even kneel on the floor. Like I can't carry heavy bags. I know, you're exciting. You're very much a part of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
You're cute. But, I'm just like, I have little kids that I want to do things with. I was a very outdoorsy person before. I mean, technically, yes, still outdoorsy. Just can't do the things.
can't do as
So,
much.
I want to be able to bike. I can't ride a bike. I can't lift the kayak because I have other problems in my arm now. I mean, I just feel like my body's falling apart. And then, I don't expect not to pay for my health insurance. I think most people are like, fine, whatever. Like, I don't mind contributing. But then not just the Israel thing, right? That was irritating because I was like, that's just not fair. And
It's not fair.
Nobody really knows about that.
Nope.
But the fact that the same politicians that tell us to suck it up, it'll be better eventually, just like suck it up for your country now. Meanwhile, they get free health care. I'm like,
That's socialist commie bullshit.
suck it, man.
Uh-huh.
Really, suck it. Because I also have a child right now that has ADHD that just started medication, and the insurance company doesn't want to approve the medication that the doctor prescribed because it's too expensive and because it's liquid.
Yes.
And so we have to jump through the three hurdles of hell basically to get to the medication that he needs. So meanwhile, we're on like stage 2 of like the 4 that we need to try to get to the original medication that the doctor had prescribed. And I'm just like, of all the people that I know, like right now my mom's knee's messed up and she's afraid to go to the doctor because she's like, well, I don't want them to stick me with this big bill. Everywhere I turn, I run into Hoosiers that are like, I don't want to go to the doctor. I'm afraid to go to the doctor. I can't go to the emergency room because what if they stick me with this big bill and they try and take my house?
And they tell you things like, well, you don't want universal health care because then you won't have any money. They'll take all your money for this health care that you're going to get. And you're not actually going to get it. You're going to sit on a long waiting list. And I'm just like, yeah. So first of all, you don't get stuck with a large bill the way that we do here now. And also, you wait in a line at a specialist anyway. In this system, I wait in a line at a specialist.
If you can even find a doctor to serve you.
Find it, yeah. To your point, I have been waiting on my dermatologist waiting list for a year now. Still haven't seen a dermatologist, and then I keep switching health insurance so frequently, so that's out the window. But
I mean, just the fact right now, right? There are other European countries, as an example, that have universal health care.
Yes.
That it works great. That we have a shit ton of expats leaving the country.
Their taxes aren't that much more than ours.
Yeah, but they're leaving the country en masse because we have an older population that they know that we're not producing enough babies right now to be able to like constantly contribute to the Social Security system at the rate that they're going to need it because all the boomers had like 4 or 5 kids or whatever. And now we can't afford to have that many kids, whether you want to or not. And, you get
a $5,000 incentive or tax for each kid or some shit that they're trying. What's that Trump baby bonus or whatever?
I mean,
my grandma texted me that and said, are you sure you guys don't want to have more kids? You get $5,000. I said, wow, Grandma, you're right. My 3rd kid, I'll tell him, well, Johnny, we had you for that $5,000, but now we're down 25 in just the first year.
Well, and meanwhile, like I'm not positive on the numbers. I'm just going to like spitball it here based upon some other content creator that I saw. But let's say like a vaginal birth in Indiana, if you don't die first, is like $30,000. So like even that math is off. Because we're not even accounting for like all of the rest of the shit that the kid will need to survive. Because it's like we just want you to have the baby, and then like we are not going to touch that. Like just do it, just push it out, and then that's on you because you laid on your back and you figure it out.
That's on you.
That's on you.
And that is how they treat you. I mean,
for sure.
We don't take care of people here.
If you're a white person, that's how they treat you. If you're a black person or someone else, we're just going to experiment on you in the hospital and just like carve your baby out of you because your brain dead.
My firstborn, I went to Hendricks Regional Health. I will never go back. I will never allow any of my friends who are like, I'm going to go give birth at Hendricks Regional. I'm like, you should think about that. You should really think about that. You should go to IU. You should go to Riley Hospital downtown or an IU affiliate, I think, because I had 180 a different experience downtown, and they did talk about at Hendricks Regional everyone's the same, and you think that colorblind approach might sound great. At IU and Riley Hospital, they did talk to you about like to the black mothers because I was in the midwives section, but they did want to talk to people about racial disparities, and the maternal mortality rate is bad in Indiana for white women. It is worse for black women. Black women aren't believed when they say that they're in pain.
Mean, right now we have women giving birth alongside the road if you're black.
So I felt more safe and comfortable downtown at IU, and I'm sure that there are Hoosiers who are able to sit there and say, well, I didn't have a good experience or whatever. Sure. But I think the fact that IU even acknowledges those racial disparities in the birthing room is huge because they are there. It is dangerous. It is a dangerous affair to give birth. I've had 2 devastating miscarriages. It is awful. And we are a pro-life state that does not care about women. And I went to...
Now, let's just clarify that right now. We're a pro-male state. We're a pro-white male state that will force the other
birth.
sex,
Yes.
who they think is beneath them, to suffer.
Yes.
And you must suffer because they think that's why Christ put you here, to suffer.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And the reason I sound stunned when I say that is because I'm an atheist. I was raised in a Christian house. My mom's was.
I mean, there are plenty of
Jehovah's
people that would
Witness.
disagree with me, but I was raised in the church, and this is what I've gathered.
Heard that. I have heard that from one of my friends that I went to school with. She became a born again Christian, I think is how you say it. Okay. Because I was, finding that I just don't believe in God. I was really struggling with religion, especially right out of high school. I was just trying to, and I have studied enough of the religions that I think I just came home to, you're all talking about the same thing. You all believe in essentially the same thing. But I've seen enough of the world, and I study human rights violations and war crimes. Yeah. So I feel like I can't believe in a God. That's a different thing. But I do think that it is crazy. More people don't know. I had a religious born-again Christian friend tell me that, yes, that is how women are seen, and in her religion. And I thought, wait, you're Christian? And she went, yes. Women are supposed to be some kind of...
breeders.
Yes, and they're actually punishment for men or some... She said some crazy ass shit about women just being a punishment to the male gender, and I was just like, you have a daughter. You gonna tell your daughter that? You believe that as a woman? And I never heard that until she said that, and now you're saying, and I'm like, I know that that's true, but I just wonder how many people know that is... Probably it's basement Christianity. It's probably not like...
I will tell you this.
It's not like the real Christ teachings to be like, yeah, those women.
I will tell you this. So, I was raised in the Christian faith. I went to church when I was young, probably like 2 times a week, maybe more, if they had, like night service and different things like that.
Okay.
Whenever I was in school, then in high school, I became part of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I led the choir section in Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I don't think I've ever prayed more than I do now.
Really?
And I've had multiple issues with religion because I'm also gay.
Yeah.
So, there's that. And I've been to church in many different countries. And the extremism, that's the problem. It's not so much the religion.
Right.
It's the extremism. And I think it probably flows across religions, right? I'm going to pull something from the French here because I find that it bleeds into everything. Like they say everything in moderation. Not too much cheese, not too much wine, not too much bread. If you take anything in excess, it's gluttonous. It's too much. Now, when you say things like gluttony, that's going back into the Christian religion, There's so many Bible verses that relate directly to accepting your neighbor, being peaceful, speaking out against oppression.
And those are the things that I think are beautiful. Those are
these are essentially the tenets and the words of Christ. I've always had a conflicted relationship with Christianity, not necessarily because of the religion, but because of the people that are applying it, the people that are preaching it, which predominantly are men. And what I have seen predominantly is of the levels of sin. If you're a man, you can do just about anything, and you can get away with it. But not only can you get away with it, you need to be absolved of it. You need to be accepted back into your community. You need to be given full grace, because part of being a woman is showing grace, being quiet, being a role model for the children, for the other girls, because otherwise they can't indoctrinate them into the system. Okay. Don't be too loud. Don't be obstinate.
Keep sweet and obey.
Yeah. Now, luckily for me, I had a grandfather that was just like, And I learned a lot from him. I knew a lot of people in my community that I think were probably very spiritual people, very religious people, but did not agree with the fact that you must be present in a building to have a relationship with Christ. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually became an ordained minister. Not necessarily because I think I'm smarter than anybody or whatever, but because I thought, you know what? I believe in people having access and, marriage, for example. I think if two people love each other enough, who am I to judge? Jesus didn't judge. So, you know what?
Did you know it wasn't until 2001 the first country legalized same-sex marriage?
I know.
2001. I'm
I know.
sure.
I mean,
I was gonna say, I'm sure I'm telling you something again. You just said but I'm just like, I read that and was stunned. I was just like, 25 years ago. I'm older than having same-sex marriage be a thing.
Yeah. Well, the right's been on a rampage for a while, and I find it so fascinating that the charge is always really led by white women. And they think they're part of the boys' club.
Schlaflys of the world.
No, but they do. Like the Erica Kirks of the world. These people are dangerous. They are so dangerous because they will turn on their own and eat them. These are not women that you want to look up to. These are dangerous, calculated vipers.
I can't wait till Erica Kirk gets her Phyllis Schlafly moment. Because Phyllis Schlafly was famous for, trying to stop the ERA and fight against women's equality. While she was also a foreign policy wonk, she really was into politics. She was not a homemaker.
Oh, they're smart.
She was a businesswoman. And so, honestly, one of the first influencers. She was one of the first people to recognize these homemakers and making bread and making jams and going and taking it to Congress and taking it to their state houses and talking to their Congress people, talking to their state reps and convincing them that, you don't want women in the foxholes. You don't want women in the military. That's dangerous. We want them in the kitchen. Here's some bread. Remember that. And then
meanwhile, when they needed them and they were convenient during World War II, put them in everywhere you need them.
But that she was so good at doing that and trying to stop the ERA. But then she would, behind closed doors, she'd turn around with these same right-wing white men and be like, right, okay, so actually I have some ideas on foreign policy. So let's sit and talk. And there's this famous moment where she goes and sits in the room with all the most powerful men in Congress in her party, I think Barry Goldwater, some other people. And she just sits in the room and she's like, right, so let's talk foreign policy. And the men all stare at her like, get your pen and paper. And she's like, no, Madge out there, she's the secretary. Let me go get her and get coffee and she'll take notes and we'll talk. And they're like, you're the skirt in the room. Sit down and take some notes. And she's like, I'm not taking notes. I have opinions. And they're like, yeah, girl, we meant that. When we were saying that there are no rights for women, it's not equal, we meant you.
Yeah,
and she was like, but I'm a gender trader. I'm an Aunt Tom. Yeah. I traded those crazy lib women's. I don't like that. I'm not with them. I'm you. I'm like you. And they're like, do you have a penis?
Yeah.
No? Okay. So take notes, please. And
Yeah.
she could not believe. And I just thought, you dumb. I mean, you really did. You sold your gender down the road. They didn't care about you. And I cannot wait for that Erica Kirk moment where she
this is why I'm
finally
speaking
gets it.
out right now, because I've got nieces and I've got a daughter and I know better. And I was raised by women and men that knew better.
Yep.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying I always agree with their judgment. People are entitled to their opinions. But I will tell you, my grandfather, who was a veteran and really, I think the first feminist I ever met, really, he would be turning in his fucking grave right now. And this is why I do it. Because I feel like I owe it to him. I owe it to my kids. I owe it to the community members. And for the women right now that want to be slaves, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying don't drag the rest of us down with you.
I think that is so interesting because now my dad watches a lot of Fox News, and his thing is he likes to try to tell me that you're not actually a feminist because you hate homemakers and you hate traditional women. And no, I don't. Just like you said, no, I don't. If you want to go home and raise kids and tend to your husband, and when he gets out, out home from work, you put on his little slippers and massage his feet, and you have a cigar and some dinner on the table.
you, boo.
That's great. If that fulfills you and brings you joy, I want that for you, because we live in America. This is a free fucking country as far as I'm concerned. I know that that's not what the government thinks at this moment, but I'm a free person. We're a free fucking country.
I mean, let me just clarify what I said. Don't do whatever you want. Do whatever you want without killing other people, raping other people.
Right.
I mean,
with those
not
caveats.
like molesting small
But
children.
I think that it's the true feminist position is not me telling you that you're not enough of a woman because you want to be a homemaker.
Right.
The true feminist position is saying you get to be a homemaker if you want, you get to be a working woman if you want, and you get to be both if you want. Mm-hmm. You as a woman get to choose your own fate. Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't have to be, wasn't born a woman so that I could just make kids and sit at home and mind the breadcrumbs and the butter. That wasn't for me. I read The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan. I got really depressed. When I had Caleb, I got really depressed. And I just didn't, is this my life? This is all I'm good for? Is making food every day and being somebody's snack bitch. This is what I told my husband. I would just cry. I'm like, I am so much better and smarter than this. And I don't mean anything against homemakers.
I know what you mean.
But I didn't know how to articulate that. And then I read The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan. And I cried. And I tried to give it to all my friends. I'm like, you need to read this. Because seriously, as a homemaker, as a housewife, I feel like there is something wrong with me. Mm-hmm. Something is missing because I have the house. I have the husband. I have the kid. I have everything. And I'm not happy. There's this emptiness inside of me. And it's because those things are great if that fulfills you. But if that doesn't fulfill you, you're not broken as a woman. You might just have different aspirations. And then I started, my husband was like, well, then go to school. Mm-hmm. My mom was like, you should. And I started crying. And one day I just was driving around the city and just crying and miserable and angry. And I kept taking turns and turns and turns. And finally I ended up on IUPUI campus. And I just sat there and was like,
it's a sign.
Yes. I'm like, I called my mom. I'm crying. I'm like, I'm going back to school. She's like, is that what you want to do? I said, yes. And yes. And Betty Friedan told me it's okay to do that. And I just think, no, the true feminist position is telling people, no, it's okay. If you want to be a homemaker and that makes you really happy, I love that for you. If you're a homemaker and that doesn't feel good to you, that's okay too. You're not broken as a woman because you don't feel fulfilled by just being a wife and mom. If you think there's something more for you, that's okay too.
Well, I'm going to go a little farther with that, right? I feel like if God is all-knowing and all-seeing, and if he doesn't do anything by accident, why would he create women to just be subjugated by men? Why would women's only purpose be to serve men? Clearly, women have their own purpose. And that doesn't mean that men aren't important.
Right.
But maybe that does truly mean that the cohesion of the two, right?
Yes.
The peaceful cohesion, working together of everyone benefits society, benefits community. And I think, going back to history, right? It's no coincidence that the U.S. Constitution was based off the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, like the Iroquois Confederacy, and that those women came from matriarchal societies, that they handled things.
Yeah.
And that the suffragettes saw that in upstate New York because they didn't have those rights and were like, that works really well. Oh, right. So the women then determine how things flow down and to make sure that the elderly and the children and the men and everybody are taken care of and that no one suffers.
Right, because women take care of things, and so they figure they should be in leadership positions because they'll take care of people, whereas the white European man is like, no, they're the caretakers. They stay at home and take care of the home. You're like, no, they take care of the community because they care about the community. Whereas you men, for some reason, you put too much testosterone in there and all of a sudden you forget other people exist. You just get a little too crazy. But I think it is important that, yes, we acknowledge that it's living together.
And I will say this. I really think that you see that play out like that in farming communities. Because any farming community that has been around for a long time, they see the benefit of community.
Yeah.
And
all hands on deck.
Yes, those families, like mine, for example, everybody was out in the field picking up rocks and stuff
I hear
like
that a lot. Yep.
Like, especially if, say, you own like a dairy farm or whatever.
Yes.
Like, you need more hands on
Right.
deck. Like, it's not beneficial to the whole to only have specific jobs. Because let's say, hypothetically, and this used to happen a lot, right? Let's say something happens to your husband. If the wife and all the kids don't know how to operate the machinery and do what they need to do, negotiate, I know, like negotiate for seed prices or whatever, you're screwed.
Yes.
And then you are weaker. So I think that's why in farming communities, whether or not that they want to like claim it now, right? Because I think there are a lot of farmers that would identify more with like conservative or like more Republican views. But at the core, their actual values are more socialist. They're not aware of it, and they don't want to call it that.
I know.
They don't want
Yes.
to call it that. But there is more of a sense of equality because there has to be, because it wouldn't work if there wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So in my family, for example, my dad also like watches Fox News and all that, but he also will change my kids' diapers, and he also will watch my kids and heat up the bottles and all that sort of thing. So will my brother.
And it doesn't make them any less of a man to
No,
do so.
my brother's got tattoos all over him. And I think, and this is no knock to his ex-wife. Like, I like her well enough. He might have changed just as many diapers, if not more than she did. Like, I've not seen a lot of guys in my immediate family or my extended family that when it came to kids, that they weren't hands-on. And so the guys that aren't hands-on, it makes you wonder, like, how can you be family-oriented? How can you be pro-family, pro-life, pro-baby, pro-whatever, if you're not willing to go, like, ankle-deep in shit?
Well, so those are rural men. So from my side, the suburban and city slickers, they don't do that. They do not do that.
You're kidding.
That's why I think it's very interesting that you say that, because I would assume it's actually the opposite, that the men in the cities would be more metro, more progressive.
No, I'm not saying it's everybody.
No, I know, but like to know that there are still men who are like, no, I'm a manly man, I'm a conservative man, I'm gonna change that diaper. In suburbia, in the city, I find that less and less. My husband is very hands-on.
And they wouldn't be grossed out. I mean, like, I'm not saying...
No, like
it probably would be easier for my dad to clean up poop rather than vomit, for example.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying it
there are some even like young couples where, you know, my husband and I will be hanging out with couple friends and the mom is the only one dealing with the kids. The dad is not touching. Even if the mom is literally Rome is burning and dad is standing right there, he's like, she's got the kids. That is her realm. Yes, the one is throwing shit on the walls. Yes, the one is literally got diaper. It's overflowing. Yes, chaos, pandemonium happening. Yes. It's not my job.
Half the time,
this. And my husband's going, you're watching your wife drown in shit, literally, and you're not going to help her. And then he just immediately runs in. And he gets so much credit for it. And sometimes it bothers me because I'm like, all he did was like the parent thing. But to what you're saying.
But we need more guys doing that.
But what
we
you're
need
saying,
more
there's
bearded, like burly guys changing diapers and high-fiving each other.
I hear more often burly big guys there who are like, I'm not touching that. I'm too much of a man. Her. And I'm just like, that is the least manly thing I've ever fucking heard. You're too afraid to get your nails dirty in some poop. I mean, not that you would, but like, you know what I mean? Get your hands dirty. You know, you won't clean off a baby because they're sticky. Really? Okay, just clean the baby.
You know,
Take care of the kid.
I can't guarantee with absolute certainty, but I think my dad would probably say something like this. My grandpa definitely would have. Like, you were man enough to make that baby, but it's beneath you to clean their shit.
That's what I think. That's what I think.
You clean your own shit. I mean, this is this baby that can't fend for itself yet. And if this is your legacy, especially if it's a boy child.
Yep.
Aren't you like excited to teach him how to pee outside? Doesn't every dude want to have a little mini-me that they teach him how to write their name in the snow? Jesus. I mean, that's like most guys from my area. Like, I'm not saying they're not excited about their girl children too.
Yeah.
But like every guy I know, when they have a boy, they're like, yeah, cool. Like, now I'm going to teach him how to write his name in the snow with his pee. Mm-hmm. It's like a rite of passage in my area.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, it's interesting that you say that about, like, suburban people, because I would think they would also be equally excited to, like, take them out in the backyard and be like, yeah, technically we're, like, breaking the HOA rules, but pee outside, buddy.
Now, it could be the area that I'm in is more a conservative red area.
How's that conservative, though? Like, I don't understand how, like, not touching, like...
the conservative young people, not conservative my dad's age, because I think those are separate. Trump really broke a lot of things. I'm not saying he's the root of all evil, but I think
Well, he broke a lot of people for sure.
Post 2016, there is a different. But yeah,
I actually think it's really great that she's just chilling and watching us do this because, we're doing it for these kids. Like, I have kids with disability. I don't even like to say disabilities, right? But I often wonder to myself, like I said, we're going to circle back to eugenics, and now is the time. I know what Indiana used to do to people, and I'll be goddamned if that's going to be my kids or any other kids that I know. Like, the autism community is so terrified right now. I'm sure it's not just the autism community, right? But like,
I
they're
have heard from parents that
they are so scared
yeah.
that, like, these legislators, they don't seem to care. They don't seem to care about people with disabilities.
Not unless it's their own children.
Not
and
even if it's their own.
I was going to say, and even then they only use them as a political pawn.
I don't even know if it's political pawn. I think it's more like, we'll be over it. Like I've got my kid,
okay,
and I'm only concerned about my child.
Like the anti-abortion laws, like the rich people are fine with the abortion laws because they know that they'll always get around it. Rich people get around lots of things.
I mean, I can't say with 100% certainty, but
I
do know
it feels that way.
I do know there are people right now that sit in politics that have children with disabilities that, like, for example, voted for redistricting, and I find that very confusing because I'm like, it would outwardly appear very much that, like, I don't care about black and brown people, and I don't care about people with disabilities, and anybody else that gets disenfranchised, like, I just don't care.
I kind of say, yeah, I think that, yes, it's that they just think that they'll get around it because who was the one state rep who decided to go against redistricting, and he cited Trump used the R word, and I have an autistic daughter, or
I think he had a daughter with Down syndrome.
Daughter or granddaughter?
I'm not sure.
He had it was daughter or granddaughter. I can't remember.
And he did not like that language.
And he did not like that language. Yeah. And I just thought, okay, I understand you for not liking the use of the word. You don't vote in favor of anything that I think would benefit that community. I don't think that you definitely don't introduce legislation that would help Hoosiers who face disabilities. I mean,
and circling back to the God stuff, right? Jesus always said, the least of those. And
I like to remind Micah Beckwith of that all the time. Like,
oh, I'd love to get in front of Micah Beckwith.
He blocked me also. Speaking of politicians,
he blocked me. He blocked me. He makes me disgusted.
He blocked me from Facebook because I comment on his stuff all the time to remind him, you are not, Jesus would not sit with you. He would not like who you are because, yeah, exactly what you said. Jesus would come to you and say, the least among me, what you did to the least among you is what you did to me. And he would be the person who goes, you didn't ask me for food or shelter. Yes, I did. The poorest among you, the least among you, the have-nots, they asked you, and you said no. That's what you would do to me. Mm-hmm. And I just like to remind Micah Beckwith of that all the time. I also like to remind him that you are the person in the temple where he flips the table and goes, you've made my house a den of thieves.
Yeah.
And Micah Beckwith immediately blocked me after that. And I thought, I'm not sit with that, you motherfucker. I just find
it interesting anyway, though, because, like, he's not even from here.
No,
he's
I know.
From Michigan. And I'm like, what do you...
He posted about IU winning and was like, he was so, oh, look, go Hoosiers. We are so proud. I sent my husband a screenshot of that and sent him the little gif of the guy. She doesn't even go here from Mean Girls because that's all I think about Micah Beckwith.
Well, I mean...
You didn't even go here. You're not from here. You don't care about us.
Take care of your own house first, right?
I mean...
Like, they've got... Ooh, buddy. So, I don't know how much you've been following this, but the paternals. So the lead pastor, who his son,
with
all
Jonathan,
of the AI child molesting stuff that's going on right now, and now they're talking to every member of their church and like, please don't leave and don't talk about us and everything is fine. And he had some instances with disappropriate behavior where they were watching AI generated porn videos.
AI deep fake of one of the representatives' wives topless.
Right.
It was they had
In
taken
the
a
office.
they had taken a YouTube video of a talent show that she had done, and they fed it into AI and asked it to make her topless, and so they showed her topless, naked, pretty much doing this thing, and they had passed it around and made jokes about it. Yes.
Yeah.
And he spoke on that legislation. There's legislation now being introduced to make deep fake porn a crime, and Michael Beckwith spoke about that legislation.
But not for him.
His response for that was, I agree, we should definitely do that and take it seriously, and it's very serious. What's also just as serious, I think, is people who falsely accuse others of having done such a thing. And you're just like, of course that's your stance. Of course it is. You don't actually care about the victims of deep fakes. You want to find those people who falsely report that. Okay. That to me says, like, no, we don't need to go after the rapists and worry about trying to rid rape in our society and trying to focus on that. We need to focus on those women, those pesky women who falsely accuse men.
I also think it's really interesting, though, allegedly, his brother, who's also a pastor.
Oh, the wife beater?
The wife beater, who won't let it go, apparently, and the church also won't kick him out.
Yep.
I'm like...
Have you heard that
You people
they're
have
now
a
sending
problem.
people to that wife and trying to...
Shocker.
How did they describe it? Tom Lobianco does really great
Yeah, I
job
know, I
on
like him.
24 Site News. He does really great reporting, and so does Abdul Hakim Shabazz. He does good work too on the Peter Nells and on Beckwith. But the Beckwith's brother has members of the church and in the higher ups. I don't do church terminology very well.
Yeah,
Okay,
like the deacons and all that.
yeah, the higher ups going to her house
course they
and
are.
stalking her and harassing her and her children. And I just think, what little baby back bitch behavior that is. Like, if you wanted to people to think that you are not a thin-skinned baby boy that beats on your wife, you're not doing that. Sending people to stalk her and to harass your children, like, you are not proving your point.
I'll tell you what. There's a phrase that I'm sure you're familiar with. When they say doesn't fall far from the tree, makes me wonder about their parents. Because when you have two boys from the same family that are doing things that are just like not great and have, influential positions and using that position to torture people and misappropriate things, and just makes me wonder.
I wonder that about Jonathan is the son, right? Nathan is the dad. Am I getting that backwards? No, I think Nathan's the dad. Nathan is
Jonathan's
Micah's friend.
Jonathan's the boy.
The boy.
Well, not boy.
No,
Adult.
no. He's an
Yes.
adult man. You're
Yes,
right.
yes,
No, that's
yes.
important because, yes,
His son.
his son. But what Jonathan did is horrendous, and he absolutely should be held accountable. He should absolutely face punishments for that. We shouldn't send him down the river entirely and make that his fault. It is his fault. I don't want to sound like that. He had videos of his parents having sex on his laptop.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm saying I think people should look further into that is because, a child doesn't just get to that point. You don't just think about your parents having sex and want to view that. Like, I don't know. I feel like every normal reaction is like when you hear your parents, you hear the door shaking as a kid, your first visceral reaction is, oh my God, ew, 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 ew. And his was, I should get the recordings of that. It makes me, to your point, makes me wonder what is going on in that home. That is an environment in which that kind of, because his dad is also a creepy person who asks teenagers about their sex lives and about things. So it makes me wonder, who is Nathan and what kind of house did he grow up in? Because I don't think that Jonathan is a creepy, nasty weirdo all on his own. I think he is a product of his environment as well. So it makes me wonder about Nathan, and is Nathan also a product of his environment? Because I know that there are mentally disturbed people out there, but I just, like you said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and I just don't think that you are so mentally disturbed that you just out of nowhere, you're like, I'm interested in watching videos of my parents.
Well,
why are your parents recording that?
So, I find it interesting that our lieutenant governor, when he attained the office of lieutenant governor, did not resign himself from the church, because that seems like a conflict of interest. And also, his mentor, who is this person's father, they are providing
They're donors.
sexual guidance within the church that they are sort of like
There is
forcing inappropriate questions.
There is something strange going on with
the
Life
fact
Church.
that they have a
the Lieutenant
podcast
Governor.
called Sex and Politics.
Jesus, Sex, and Politics.
I don't know. Like,
and some of their
everything-
episodes have mysteriously gone missing.
Oh, I'm sure. Everything that I know, they're in most rural communities in Indiana. I know. You can go on like any street corner and find a church. I mean, it's like pubs in Ireland.
Yep.
You know, you want to go to a different church, you can find one.
Yep.
Even in the smallest of towns. I have not heard this type of just blatant weirdness when it comes to the church in a long time. I mean, this is eclipsing the Catholic Church debacle for me in Indiana.
Life Church is a satellite of the Assemblies of God Church.
Not shocked.
So, and that church is notorious for their, like, there's a 50-year, I think is what I read, 50-year sex cover-up, like a child sex trafficking ring or child sex abuse ring. I might be getting the words wrong, but there is a long and sordid history of the Assemblies of God abusing children sexually. And so it's not that surprising to me that Life Church being a satellite or subsidiary, I don't, again, not good with terminology, but whatever you want to call that, like under the parentage of this Assemblies of God Church. I think there is something, and I think they're evangelicals. I could be wrong on that. I think they're evangelicals.
Well, look, we've got a problem with churches in this country
But
anyway.
I think it's so weird. You just wanted attention. I think it is so weird that what you said, he didn't resign his position as pastor. So he's a pastor lieutenant governor who preaches under the seal of Indiana. He often wears his lieutenant governor outfit.
Yeah.
Did he buy those vests on his own, or do you think taxpayer dollars paid for all those swanky sweater vests
Well,
that
he
he's
paid
got
for
with
his
the
truck.
embroidered thing? That's what I'm saying.
Paid
I
for
think
his
that I
truck.
paid for that. I think we paid for that, and I'm going to shame him on his little skinny jeans and sweater vest every chance I get because I hate that guy.
Well, I'll tell you, you know,
but there
for
is
me-
something disgusting going on about that church.
sure.
And trying to get so close to the office of the lieutenant governor, and then we see what's going on right now with this Christo-fascist takeover of America. Because what you said, it's extremist, it's Christo-fascist,
Yeah.
because it isn't Christianity. When you go abroad, it isn't Christianity. They out there in the world practice Christianity that almost makes me look at it and go, see, it is a beautiful that's beautiful. I could love thy neighbor, take care of one another. I'm not saying every other country is perfect and all their Christians
I mean,
are perfect.
we
They're not.
have a shit
But-
ton of Hispanic Christians, and look how they're treating them.
but I just think it's funny. The BBC and the DW, British and German channels do a lot of, and Australian actually, do a lot of documentaries here in America over our Christian zealots and the IBLP,
Yeah, they're crazy.
the FDL, the Mormons, the fundamentalist Mormons, all kinds of, because we have so many. And so they think it's such a fascinating thing to come to America and see like our mega churches and see how we do Christianity. And sometimes watching these documentaries through like the eyes of a foreigner, I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm not insane to think this is weird. What we do in America with churches and Christianity is kind of fucking weird.
You know, I think it's very interesting that you can have even what they call a mega church and it not be taxed. Because how the hell do you have a man of God have multiple mansions and jets and all that shit when they're supposed to be pious? I'm not saying necessarily that they have to be of the Franciscan order and give up everything. I'm not saying that.
Right. No, I get you.
But I
you
am
can't
saying-
live like the Joel Osteen, Tammy Bakers. You can't live life large, have mega yachts and
Oh, I'll tell you a
mansions
story
and-
about that wife. So whenever I was in the airlines, I don't know her personally, but there was a big debacle because his wife was on one of the planes one day, and a flight attendant asked her to do something, asked her to comply with something. I'm not sure exactly what went down, but that flight attendant lost her job after that. So if these type of people that are supposed to be members of God have that type of power and will use it at their discretion to make someone lose their livelihood that other people, in their family is depending on, Those aren't people of God. That has nothing to do with God. That has everything to do with themselves. And I know for a fact that there are plenty of preachers out there that like preach out of their trucks and all that sort of thing. And, you know, they do it for the right reason and they try and feed the poor or whatever. But people like that don't. They won't let, you know, even homeless be on their doorstep because it's an eyesore. Like, that's not following.
When really they should be opening their mega church and let the homeless sleep in the pews. Because,
that's
like,
not
I need a
following
roof over
Christ.
my head, and that's what Christ would do. He would tell you, come into the pews. It's warm in here, and I know it's not much, but here's a pillow and a blanket, and it's the best I've got. But I hope that, and here's some bread.
Now,
and
the
here's
small
some
churches
wine.
will do that.
Yeah.
I'm not...
And they shouldn't be taxed. If you can really prove to me that you are doing God's work out here and that you need the tax abatement in order to stay afloat, because I think that's what it was originally intended for, was to help the little mom and pop churches to be able to sustain and not have.
Yeah, but that's
to
not
your
what it's being used for
We are
anymore.
now seeing, yes, and even in Brownsburg, it's not necessarily a mega church, but there is a
Big
church
enough.
that is Connection Point that I actually used to go to when I was younger. They have a daycare called Lots of Tots. They run a daycare. They have a gift shop. You can buy all kinds of merch. You can buy stickers. You can buy anything you want. They have all kinds of stuff. They have a coffee shop that they do. And I just look, my mom and I look at each other and like, how is that? How is that legal? I'm just like, because God, oh my gosh, we make a joke. God pays.
Well, anyways, it just makes you wonder about Beckwith, though, right? Because why can't he step down from being a pastor? Why is he okay with, you know, taking money from, if you are a man of God, right?
Sorry, I mean,
I know.
No,
I'm
I
just
know,
saying.
no.
I'm just saying.
We're talking in general. My
If
laugh
you
was at
were-
Beckwith.
If you were a man of God, why would you not then use this very powerful office that you have to do as much goodwill as you possibly could? Why would you use it instead to inflict punishment and pain on the least of these? You are not a man of God. Period. I don't want to hear anything else he has to say. He's a horrible person. He's not a man of Christ. Everybody in that church that has any sort of influence, that know everything that was going on with these kids, they're going straight to hell. I hope they like it hot. That's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah, Beckwith is an interesting character. Have you noticed that he is trying to put Turning Point chapters into every high school? I know that's like
Of course
a
he
broad
is.
thing, but like he is the man on the front lines here
Of course he
in
is.
Indiana. He's trying to do that, and he's
Because
trying
it's not
to,
about Christ for
no.
him.
And he's trying to inject LifeWise into all the schools. I don't know if you know what that is, but
Well, educate the listeners.
it is a Christian academy. It will come to your school, take your children out of school for a class period, and do Bible studies. And on its face, it sounds like not that, to some parents, it sounds not that bad because they think, you know, I would want my kids to do that. Two things on that. One, it ostracizes people. My husband grew up and went to a school where they did that. Girly pop. My husband went to a school where they did that. And he would sit for fourth period in the office every day because his mom didn't want him to go. Not because they weren't Christian, but because she just didn't
that's not
understand
part
why
of
a
school.
public school is trying to send him to Bible study because they believe in God. They did that at home. So LifeWise is a Christian Bible study where they will come to school and pick your kid up for a period, take them on this big red LifeWise bus, take them to a facility, teach them about God. Sounds
Okay.
great. For the kids who don't want to do it, for the kids whose parents don't think that that's appropriate, you sit in the office and you do busy work and you get singled out and made to feel like you are different than the other children, which is hilarious because my husband is a white dude and a Christian.
That doesn't seem very democratic.
So the other issue with LifeWise, the more insidious issue, is that they do not do background checks. And if you Google LifeWise Ohio lawsuit, you will come up with a lot of things about how they will take these children, and some of them are sex offenders. Some of them are criminals. Some of them are fine. You also cannot find the curriculum for LifeWise. What are they teaching children? We don't know. One teacher tried to release the curriculum. They were fired
Interesting.
and slapped with a lawsuit.
Wow.
One of my friends in Danville wanted to put their kids into LifeWise. She clicked on the Danville site or whatever, and she actually had to reach out to LifeWise to tell them, you doxed every family in Danville that goes to here because I clicked on the Danville link and was sent to something that is like essentially a spreadsheet of every child, their grade, their name, their parent's name, and their address.
Wow.
And
that's dangerous.
So how long has that been up? And they were just like, gee, I don't know. Thanks. You told us? Cool. My bad. Thanks. And she was like, okay, but I'm very concerned actually, because like, how long has that been up? How has that been a thing always? Or like
why do you even
who
have
has
access
to that information? Because like, you're telling me this is open to the internet. Any literal random stranger who has nefarious intent could now stalk a child and have that information. And she was really confused.
Snatch a child.
She was really confused why LifeWise would kind of be flippant about it and like, oh, it's not that big of an issue. And I was just like trying not to comment and be like, it's because they literally let child pedophiles in their ranks. They don't background check their teachers. So like they're probably thinking, oh, so a pedophile might have found your kid. Oh, we hire them. So like, I mean, probably not thinking that really, but like I just was thinking, oh God, please don't put your kids in there. Please do not put your kids in there. And so then it brings it back to Beckwith with
why do you have these insidious connections?
Why do you, right? We're all
Constantly
6
attached
degrees
to you.
removed from Kevin Bacon. You seem 1 degree removed from the most awful people. Like, there's so much shady shit surrounding that man. It's like, gross.
Weren't all of us taught birds of a feather flock together?
That's
How
what
many
I try
of
to
these
tell
idioms that we have grown
That's
up
what I
with?
try to show people.
Do they not
Beckwith.
do this in Michigan? Do they not have the same phrasing that we have here?
Because that's what I try to show people about Beckwith. I'm like, while you might not be able to nail this bastard definitively for crimes on his own, look at his network.
Look at the circle.
What? And bringing it back to Bo Bye, you might not have a specific thing to be like, oh, I nailed that bastard, smoking gun.
Yeah.
Okay, but look at who he surrounds himself with.
Yeah.
Is that who you feel comfortable with? I mean, someone who feels comfortable enough to be around people who abuse children sexually. And you're like, yeah, that's my best friend. That's my podcaster. Yeah. I'm friends with them.
And I'm not going to cut ties with them either because we can't be certain. Now, I get the whole without a shadow of a doubt thing, but I'll tell you right now. If there was anyone that was attached to me in some fashion, and I wouldn't even have to hear not even much. I'd go straight to them, drive straight to their house and be like, what the hell is this about? And you better clarify this right now.
You better clarify this right now, because if I ever let you around my children, there is going to be another thing happening here. It may be a murder. But seriously.
And I think that is the normal adult response. That is the normal Hoosier response that transcends religion, political party, and whatever. Because I truly believe Hoosiers do care about kids.
Yes.
And they don't like that shit.
No.
And I can tell you, I've heard a lot of stuff from a lot of Republicans that is raising a lot of eyebrows, and I don't want to say don't like him, but it's causing concern because there are so many religious people in the state, because they're like, we don't do that. Like, if we are affiliated with this Republican Party and then they are allowing this, if the governor is not handling him, because at the very least, removing, pending an investigation, tell him, hey, you know what? I'm not saying you can't do what you want to do on your own, but right now you're serving political office. You need to have clear separation between yourself and that church. Governor Braun is equally responsible.
I have called that man so many times to ask his office, when are you going to do something about that dumpster fire of a lieutenant governor? No responses yet.
And that makes you wonder.
But I do know that Braun hates him, but puts up with him, and so then I wonder why. Yes, it makes me wonder why.
If you're a man that cares about children,
and he didn't want him, that's not the lieutenant governor he wanted. He wanted Julia something. There was a female candidate. That's who he wanted to win. But because we do this weird thing with the lieutenant governor and governor where they don't pick the same ticket, you actually pick delegates to do it. Nathan Peternell and Micah Beckwith were able to do a coup where they were able to secure enough delegates from Life Church. If you look at how many delegates he got versus how many the Braun appointed or the Braun preferred candidate got, the margin was like that.
Interesting.
And one of the delegates is his own wife, Micah Beckwith. Most of the delegates he gets, or 23 of them, I believe, are from Life Church, and 20 of them are from Stone Church or something that is a sister church to Life Church. So essentially, he got all of his congregates to do a coup for him. And so back to your point, it makes you wonder, what does Life Church and the Assemblies of God want with Indiana?
Yeah.
Like, you worked so hard. You in fact did a coup to take the lieutenant governor's office.
Did I drop my cup?
And now they're trying to pass a bill in the IGA to stop that from ever happening again.
I'll tell you this, though. This is why it annoys me. Because I think Indiana's better than this.
Yes.
I think Hoosiers are better than this. I don't think that these people that we've elected with our, 12%, participation in our elections, I don't think they accurately represent Hoosiers, and I'm done with it. And this is why I'm speaking out about it, because now is the time. And I hope that any of you that may be watching this are equally as annoyed and enraged as I am. If you know somebody that is not registered to vote, convince them that their voice matters. We have no idea what's going to happen. But you better at least go to that ballot box and make your voice heard, because we can't keep having more people like this in office in Indiana.
What's that quote? If you fall asleep in a democracy, you wake up in a dictatorship.
Yeah. I mean,
and they don't want Hoosiers to vote more, because what you said, we deserve better. We're smarter. We know better. And we do deserve better. We know we deserve better. Yeah. And even the Republicans who vote for these assholes, I don't think they know they're being sold a bill of goods. I don't know that they think they're being conned. I think that they really truly believe that their party is looking out for them. But I do think that it serves Indiana Democrats and serves now I'm speaking solely about parties, not about rank and file voters. I think that it serves both parties for Hoosiers to not turn out, for us to be sitting at home. And because before I got involved in politics, and this was like 2016, 17, I've really only been paying attention to politics for the last 10 years. So before that, though, I didn't know there was a Democrat Party in Indiana. And I know that sounds stupid, because you're like, really? You didn't know? But no, I really didn't know. And if there were, where are they? They're never here. There is a Hendricks County Democratic Party. And I just still think they don't come to me. They don't come talk to us. They don't. I mean, they are in the community, in that sometimes, like at the Hendricks County Pride, they show up there, and they show up to maybe like the parades. But like, do you show up any other time? Are you really out there trying to push the vote? Like, in the way that, like, again, Blythe Potter, and I will hold her feet to the fire. If she does win and gets in office and she fucks me over, I'm going to hold her just as,
Oh, I'll be knocking on her door.
I will be texting her and calling her and going, home, girl. So, but she is out there with a real thing, saying, I want to get voters a voter education guide. I don't know if we're going to do it paper, if we're going to do it virtually, but we need to get people educated. Like the Republican in Danville, the paper has a voting guide, and every election cycle they send out the paper, and Gunnar and I grab it and we look and see who the candidates are, and that's how we start to educate ourselves on names and voters or candidates. And I think that if we had more of that and more of the things, the turnout effort, I think that we could actually get turnout up. But I think that it serves the people in power for us to not have the turnout that we want. And I think that is something that a lot of Democrats are having trouble with understanding. I don't think Bo Bai wants to increase the voter turnout. I just don't. What's his what is his platform? What are his policies? What is he doing? How would he go about increasing voter turnout? Because he says it. He'll say it. I want to fight corruption. I want to increase voter turnout. How are you going to do it? I don't hear as many people ask him that question. If you find in interviews that they do, please send them to me, because I want to know.
Sure.
But I don't hear those questions get asked to him. I hear him get asked about Blythe a lot. That's how I know, other than reading her website. I also know because I've heard her speak about it. She speaks about it at length, talking about having, voter guides and having people understand who's on your ballot, what they stand for, how their voting record is. Like, you need this information, not just on the candidates, but you need to know polling information. Where is your polling place? Where are the early voting places? And yes, like not every once in a while, every election we do get sent a tiny little voter slip that tells us where our polling places are. But I just think You have little voters, like a
have
tiny
to
little
seek it
paper
out.
slip. Yes, you do. And it's so exactly. It's so hard. It's so much work. And Hoosiers are hard working, tired fucking people. We just don't want to do that. And so we would rather just wash our hands of that. And Blythe is out here saying, not only do I want to give you all the information so that you don't have to seek it out, because I know you're tired and you work hard, but I also think that we should start talking about making voting a holiday, or making it something that
I think that'd be a good idea.
We stop having so many barriers to voting. And even,
I'm pretty sure
even
they do
though
that in Brazil.
And even though she acknowledges, as the Secretary of State, I may not have the ability to, 'cause I'm not a legislator. I can't pass this legislation, but I can use my power. I can use my position as a soapbox to say, hey guys, so as the top election official in Indiana, have you guys thought about these X, Y, and Z policies that would increase voter turnout? And I just think, wow. Okay, so that's somebody who is fucking serious about the job. She wants this job, and she's wanting to tell you how she's going to do it. And she's out here still trying to do it. Educate people, trying to get people the information, telling them how to become state delegates. Yes, because she wants her, state. But getting people involved in the process, even if she doesn't win, I know she knows that there is a chance that she may not get the Democratic nomination.
Sure.
And she is still out here doing the fucking work and pounding the pavement and not doing it the way that Bobai is, but actually doing. I mean, have you ever seen a video of Bobai walking into these county Dem meetings and heard any audio? Every one of his TikTok videos has an audio over top of it, some like Gossip Girl song or some trendy TikTok song to get that really going. Never any audio.
Well, I will say this.
Like, what's that man stand for?
This is just my opinion. I can't speak for anyone else, but I do think that my opinion is popular among normal Hoosiers. I personally believe how we should seriously consider our candidates are things like who's showing up, who's being transparent, who's out in public talking a lot, what type of jobs did they have? What type of family do they come from? How much money do they have?
You mean you don't want a Nepo baby who lived in a $2.3 million mansion on the East Coast to run your state here in the Hoosier State?
Well, I think considering...
Sorry.
Right. No, but I'm seriously going to address that because I've thought about that a lot. I think that when you have a median range of like $50,000 to $70,000 per household, depending upon where you go. Some counties are less, some are a little bit more. I don't think that's an accurate reflection of someone that can speak to what Hoosiers are going through. Like, legitimately, I think that every single one of these candidates, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, like this is how they should be vetted. It's
no, I would.
Are they willing if they have money? If they have money, how much of that money is going back into their community and not back into their own pocket? Or what is the likelihood that they would use their influence to benefit their family financially?
I don't think that Bobai is a class traitor. Because, I understand because FDR comes from a rich family. He was a class traitor. I mean, he...
Oh, so you asked me who my favorite presidents were?
Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt and FDR.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say probably FDR for me if I had to pick one, but I think that you can find
I'm
something
a big
gross
fan
in
of Teddy.
everyone. Really?
Now, I know he's also a controversial president, right?
Right. Everyone has controversy,
But,
which is why I never say I really...
But I will tell you this.
People peg me as an Obama person. They think that's my favorite
I
president. I think that's so funny. Sorry.
No, you're good. So I like history, and I like the presidents in history that pushed back. And Teddy pushed back on women's rights. He pushed back on environmental issues. Yep. I'm not saying he was perfect.
No, but I did
like
like those
things. He was
things.
a staunch advocate at times when it was very unpopular. And I think that should be our example, right? Like, if you come from a family of influence, what are you using that influence for?
Yep.
What are you using that money for? Are you willing to go against the grain?
That's why I don't think that, and I don't think that Bobai
I don't
is
think
a
he's
class
capable
traitor.
of it.
I don't think he will do it.
He's not showed us any indication that he would be willing to give up his wealth, his access, his power to serve his people. That's a different sort of thing. So we should be looking for people
And
like
his
that.
military service, it's not. I'm done with that. I'm done with people saying, well, he served his country. How can you say that? He served his country. First of all, Blythe Potter also served her country. You have 2 veterans vying for the Democratic ticket. And second, I would say it's more likely, and this is pure conjecture. This is just my gut feeling. I don't know because I haven't looked into it. And it's not that I'm trying to question someone's military service or say that one is better than the other. That's not what I'm getting at. But I do think that people just need to kind of be a little honest and look and say that there is a higher likelihood that Blythe was treated like everybody else. You're just a rank and file fucking Hoosier. You signed up. I don't really care. Not that they don't care about her, but they're just like, you are just another number on a ledger. You're just another soldier. Okay? You're not anybody special. Bo Bai, he has name recognition across the country. It's not just here in Indiana. The Bais are known. And you know, dude in California might not know who Bo Bai is. Rich dude in California knows who Bo Bai is. He has, obviously, he has donors
Name
from
recognition.
Idaho, New York. He has donors from all over the country. Rich donors, that's the thing, that they're wealthy people, and that's the connecting tissue there. I think that it is more likely that Blythe was treated like a regular-ass soldier, one of normal Hoosiers who sign up, join, and get enlisted. Treated just like that. Bo, to me, reads more like Prince William or Harry. You go in and you serve the Royal Military, your Royal Navy. No, you don't. Not the same way, right? You're not being sent to the front lines. You're not seeing combat. I don't know what he did, but I'm just saying that in Britain, how they treat their royalty and their aristocracy that serve in the armed forces is not the same as your regular rank and file Briton that goes and serves the military. The people who the normie people who go and serve the Royal Navy are not treated the same as Prince Harry or Prince William are. And I think that Bo probably gets more of the prince treatment than I think Blythe got probably dropped on her ass. Especially as a woman in the armed forces, like I bet you had to overcome a lot more adversity than, you know, Nepo baby, again, raised in a $2.3 million home on the East Coast, went to Harvard and played lacrosse. How many Hoosiers really identify with that? You're just like, I really see myself in that story.
I would say, I think the best people to answer that would be the people that served with him. So they should be coming forward right now and say, what was your experience with him? Like, did you feel that you had the same experience? Do you feel that he was elevated above his station? And I don't know if anybody will come forward and say that, but if they did, if you're out there, I'll interview you.
If you did, hats off. So much respect.
I'll come down and talk to me.
Respect.
I'll come to you.
Because I would be interested to know. Because
that is the best indicator, because let's just be fair. Only people that serve with us. I didn't serve in the military. I've got family members and I've got cousins that did and things like that. But I can tell you this, for the people that are the normal people that enlist and like they're having to clear the levels.
Yes.
Legitimately.
Yes.
It's a different path. And I would imagine everybody likes to think that it's fair. Right? We all like to think
it's the just world fallacy.
We like to think that our military
meritocracy.
Yes. We like to think that our military is fair.
Yeah.
I am not convinced that for people like that it is, but the only people that could ever shine light on that would be people that served with him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of them are brave enough to come forward, but if they are, then they could illuminate that for us. They could say, yes, indeed, like he very much earned that. He very much earned that.
And I
you
would want
should
to know that.
Sure. He very much earned it, and that you should not question it because they served with him.
Right.
But also, you could have people step forward that may say, you know what? Like, I liked him well enough, but I always kind of felt like he got an easier time or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. It would be nice to know either way.
And I think it's important mostly because... So for back to the Royals as an example, because I don't know, I just like that as an example. The reason that Prince Philip did it, the reason that William, Harry, that they all do it is because you can't be seen as the sovereign of your country and have not served your country. I know we don't do that in America, Donald Trump. We don't do that, but in Britain. They think that it is
In-
not
in a lot of other countries.
They think, right, it looks better for the future
the
king
optics.
to have served. So Charles did, Philip did, Harry and William did.
Yeah.
But honestly, even if you look at Harry and William's experiences, the spare and the heir, it's different. It's treated different. In fact, in his book, Prince Harry talks about how he was sent, not necessarily to the front lines, but he was sent to, overseas.
Sure.
And he got to be more in combat
Yeah.
than William did. And that's because he is the heir apparent. So it's not really about having him
they can
serve his
sacrifice him.
country for real, because you cannot sacrifice the heir, the sovereign, but we need him to have the Royal Navy as a credential.
Sure.
So it looks good on the resume, it looks good to the people don't start getting angry about, the monarch gets to sit in a palace with taxpayer dollars and not do anything and never serve anything. So we tell you that he served the army, or he served the Navy, or he served something.
Right.
And so I just get that kind of vibe. Again, I'm not trying to say that I don't think that
Yeah,
it's not stolen valor kind of thing. That's all I'm
just
saying. I'm just saying I want to know, because I want to know, did you serve because you looked around and you were like, I love this country, I care about this country, and I care about my countrymen, and that's why I want to serve? Because when you talk to normie people, that is mostly why they did. For whatever events happened, that usually drill down to the core, that is their thing. They really did care enough to fight for America, whatever they thought that meant. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that meant for oil and things, right? But I want to know, did you do it? Because I've heard Blythe talk behind closed doors, not just in.
Sure.
But so I feel like I'm being sold less bullshit when it's not in front of an audience, especially when you think that this conversation isn't going anywhere. When you tell me that the reason that you decided to join is because you cared about your country, you saw what happened in 9/11, you cared, you joined, you want to serve and give back. I want to know, did you do it that way? Or did you do it because you want, like a royal, you want that on your resume? To be able to pivot and be like, I can be a public servant because I served in the military. Like, right, but there's different ways of doing that and different reasons for doing that. If you actually did that because you cared about us, I want to know that. If you actually did it because you just liked the resume, I want to know that too.
Well, I think if you're leading with that, and that's one of your talking points, you need. I'm very careful in how I say this, because some people would be like, "Oh, you don't know," and that's fine. That's fine for those. I have several people in my family that served. I have a lot of respect for them. I think every single person in my family that served, they have their reasons that they would answer to, and they knew exactly what that meant when they went in, which meant that could end up with them not coming home.
Yeah.
And I don't, in my heart of hearts, believe that a person like that, of that type of wealth, ever goes in with that same thought that I'm going in and I may not come home
in a coffin with a flag draped over it, and I'm okay with it. Yeah, because that mad respect to anyone who says, for my fellow citizens, I would do that. I wouldn't do that. I mean, not that I don't love my people, but that's terrifying. That's terrifying. I couldn't make that decision. So I want to know, is it because you made that calculation? You were like, I care about America and I care about my fellow countrymen so fucking much. I would be willing to come back in a coffin with a flag draped over it to say that I gave all
you made the
for
ultimate
everyone.
sacrifice.
Yeah. And I think that that's also why it triggers me so much when people are so willing to send our American sons and daughters to fight wars that are not for us, that are not for our safety. We do not need to send people to Iran for any fucking reason. Yeah. We're not at war with them, and we do not need to lose more blood and treasure for that.
Well, let's face it. The wealthy never send their kids.
No, they
never send
don't.
their kids.
No, they don't. In fact, they target high schools so that they can recruit young people who think they have no choice, no skills, no anything. They're poor with no skill set, and that's the only thing that they can do. And they send them to be cannon fodder, and they treat them like cannon fodder. And then when they come back and have done the right thing and served, we can't even give them health care. We can't even take care of them. We let them be homeless. We let them starve, and we look at them and tell them that's your fucking fault. We made you into a war machine, and then we brought you back home into civilian life and dumped you and went, good luck.
Yeah.
and you're the patriotic ones. I'm an asshole because I think we should kneel during the national anthem at a football game while our black brothers and sisters are being gunned down on the streets by cops. That I'm an anti-American, but you sit there and salute the flag and hand over your heart during the national anthem, but then when it comes down to it, you don't care about the veterans. You don't care about the homeless veterans, the hungry ones, the ones who are sitting there with the most PTSD, and they just want some legalized marijuana so that they can deal with that. And you're just like, nah, I can give you nothing. And you'll love it. Vote for us. And I just think that's...
I'm going to circle back to what I said at the beginning. We should be looking at people that are true civil servants. That the reason that they're getting into this is because they want to serve their communities. And then watch how they do it. Watch their actions, not their words. And please hold me accountable too, because this is part of my patriotism. I didn't serve. Now I see a moment in history that demands courage. I'm trying to be courageous in my own way. Mm-hmm. And I think those of us that know better should do better. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I am triggered by Bo saying that he just wants to serve the public and be a public, because that's he was on Andy Bashir's podcast. Mm-hmm. The governor of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. The governor of Kentucky. You talking to the governor of Kentucky because you care about Kentuckians? I mean, whatever.
Only time will tell. And you know what? If he truly feels...
Nothing against my Kentucky brothers and sisters.
No, but I understand what you're saying.
But you're trying to be the Secretary of State in Indiana. Come talk to us.
He has the opportunity to speak to his people, and he is choosing not to.
Yep.
And that is his choice, and he will be held accountable for that. If he so chooses, he has every opportunity in the world, and he has enough wealth that he could be in a rental car, in a Prius, whatever, pick one. He could hire an escort, and he could go to every single town in Indiana if he wanted to, and he could be physically present to speak to his constituents that he wants to get their vote, but he doesn't care enough to do that.
Nope.
Because he thinks he's above these poor people.
He is entitled. He thinks that he is entitled to this position.
And that is my opinion. Mm-hmm. That is my opinion. He has the right to prove me otherwise. And if he so chooses, and he wants to come on and tell everybody that I am full of shit, well, welcome.
I am just done with the wealthy candidates altogether on both sides of the aisle, just to be honest. Like, I would much rather deal with a grassroots Republican than deal with a wealthy Democrat at this point, because I just think that even though I have nothing in common, I mean, not nothing, but I have very little in common with the Republican. I think that if you get off the crack of donor money and big dollar donors, I think that you and I could have an honest conversation. Like, this is a terrible example, and I'm sorry, but Marjorie Taylor Greene used to take corporate money, PAC money, large dollar donors. She stopped taking that. And she went from thinking that universal health care or affordable health care was socialized commie bullshit to now she's like, hey guys, so did you know that poor Republicans can't afford their health care? And I know that it's shitty, that it always takes them finding out themselves. She has grown young adult children who are just now finding out that healthcare is unaffordable. The thing we've all been telling her this whole time. But because she's not taking donor money anymore, she is able to say, so healthcare is unaffordable. Are we ever going to talk about a different system? Like, because, I mean, the ACA subsidies aren't working, and we should figure out healthcare. It's unaffordable. I don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I see how maybe on that one issue, because she's not taking big pharma and healthcare and health industry money, that maybe, just maybe, you could convince her to, you could sit down and have a conversation. Whereas I feel like if you're talking to a Democrat who is bought by big pharma, bought by the health insurance companies, am I ever getting anywhere with you? Probably not, because you're already, the cash is talking. And so the cash is out talking. It's talking way louder and drowning my voice out. Whereas I feel like a grassroots Democrat, and I'm not saying she's a grassroots person, but I think even a grassroots Republican is someone I can talk to easier. Because at the end of the day, we might differ, but you're just like my conservative neighbor. We're just trying to make it, man. We're just trying out here. But if you are a corporate Democrat or a corporate Republican and you are just high on those donor dollars, I can't talk to you. How likely am I going to be able to persuade Bo Bai that it is a bad deal for Hoosiers if we make charter schools the norm in Indiana and we just do away with the public education system? How able am I to persuade him that data centers are bad for Hoosiers? It's bad for city Hoosiers, suburban Hoosiers, farmers. It's bad for everybody, and we don't want that shit here. We have pretty much told you we don't want that shit here. Is he going to listen to me? Or is he going to listen to his donors who give him $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, and they own him? They've made his career. Who's he listening to?
Right.
Because it's not me. So, like, I just, at this point, I'm still a progressive. I don't think that I will vote for a Republican, but I think I could have a conversation with a grassroots Republican in office easier than I could with a corporate-owned Democrat or a corporate-owned Republican, just because, again, the cash is talking and my voice is being drowned out.
Well, I mean, I just think very plainly we need candidates of the people and for the people, and we need to get back to what that's supposed to mean. But we have talked about a ton of things today, and I very much appreciate your time and your wealth of knowledge on everything. I ask everybody this whenever they come on, because we talked about so many things. If you have one thing that you want people to remember about Sierra when they walk away from this podcast, what is that, and who are you? Like, when people think back about, wow, I really loved this about Sierra on this podcast. What do you want the takeaway to be?
I am a nerdy history buff.
Okay.
Who I sit in my free time and watch documentaries and read books on history about anything. It doesn't have to be just politics. I like royal history. I like world history. I like food history. I really like to learn about the origins of food. My husband thinks I'm a strange person because of it, but I just love history, and I just like learning things. And so I think that would be it. I'm just a nerdy history buff.
Well, you know what? We need people that know about history right now. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm sure people are going to get a lot out of this content. So
I hope so. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you guys later.
We are at a pivotal point in American history. We do not have the luxury to remain silent. Programs are disappearing every day. We hope that this podcast raises awareness and sparks a sense of advocacy in you. We all can make a difference. The important thing is to start. See you next time.